God, you're foda, né?
Well, would you look at that? There's still no reporting going on for Eliza Bleu besides independent media makers. And what's with the silence from Tim? I got a good one. Welcome to Atlas Thug, guys. We have this happened over the weekdays. Jeremy from the Quartering gets blocked by Tim Pool. So the assumption is that Tim's blocking Jeremy outright just to avoid some of the flack he's been getting. The constant inundation with, people are paying super chats. People are spamming his messages and his tweets, his replies, his mentions. Tim Pool decides to block Jeremy from the Quartering because he thinks that Jeremy, or supposedly so, that Jeremy is sending his following to go and harass Tim Pool about the subject. And I'm going to explain to you why I do not think that is the case. It's just pathetic. It's pathetic if you ask me. From the Quartering, not shitting on you, but this is the biggest misconception. It's not my fans yelling at him. It's his own viewers. And this is in response to a random follower of his. I don't get it. Everyone is talking around whatever is happening. I don't see where any actions by Timcast and Cassandra, which is Cassandra Fairbanks, or formerly Fairbanks, is now Cassandra McDonald, who is his primary booking agent and one of his top writers for Timcast News, would have led to such viciousness from so many fans of the Quartering. I know Twitter is a place for this kind of fun, but it seems excessive to me. And I agree with the Quartering. Like, I'm one of those guys who was a crossover viewer who not only am I a fan of the Quartering, I came across the Quartering's page because I followed Tim, and because they cover a lot of the same stories. They kind of are on the same side of the fence when it comes to their perspectives when they talk about these culture war issues. But to blatantly outright assume that it is only the Quartering's following that is going after Tim and harassing him for not reporting on the Eliza Bleu story or anything relating to any bit of news about Eliza Bleu, period, is aggressively pathetic. I think anybody who has followed Tim or Jeremy, vice versa, for an extended period of time, someone who would say they are an active viewer of their content would tell you that they're viewers of both and that they have a lot of crossover content, and if Tim covered this subject, you probably would more than likely follow up by watching some video of the Quartering for his take on it. Now, why is this a huge issue for me? Who am I, this random third guy with a beard and a beanie, combo both, Jeremy, and that's funny actually, beanie and the beard. Why do I have a problem with it? Because Tim's someone who's actively came out against the believe all women narrative, specifically when it comes to talking about the toxic social pressures that surround any kind of story when it relates to whether it's sexual assault, human trafficking, like this story we're talking about here, or family court, or any kind of time it's relative to a situation where it is a female versus male, and the the presumption is of believe all women. It's like the opposite of how we should actually be running the court system, which is wait until the evidence is shown, then make a judgment. The social pressures were just, and have been for the past, I don't know, like 10, 15, 20 years, is if a woman says it, you better believe her until proven otherwise. Therefore, outright making the accused, it makes whatever man gets accused is automatically lit up as if he was guilty and gets his life destroyed, whether there was a court decision or not. Now, connecting all this together, I want to show you a shiny example that happened extremely recently. Why this bothers me and why it pisses me off. This was just this past Friday. Streamed one day ago. Timcast IRL hosted Jeff Younger. And if you don't know who Jeff Younger is, Jeff Younger, he is a father from Texas, ultimately has lost almost all of his parental rights regarding his son, regarding the fact that he outright opposes his now ex-wife, who has been stating that his son, his 9-year-old son, is in fact a girl. In long story short, Jeff's wife ran off with, or now ex-wife, Jeff's ex-wife ran off to California, voiding the Texas law that came down in that family court. And this is a long story. This is there's a lot of different adjudications. There was a lot of different court proceedings. So if you actually want to hear kind of the full story, you can listen to that on Timcast IRL. Jeff Younger is a very articulate human being, and he goes into really good detail about what the occurrence was, how it all played out, how he lost his parental rights, his parental custody, the things that he did to stand in the way of that, and how they were stricken down. Why is this all relevant? It's relevant because Timcast brought on Jeff Younger for him to explain his story about, and this is all socially tied in the social context of the Believe All Women, where Jeff Younger loses in family court, loses his rights to take care of his son, see his son, because he denied that his 10-year-old son is a girl. Now, ultimately, like I had just stated, the courts ruled against him. His son is now, and he hasn't seen his son for about 1 year and 6 months, as he stated in the video. The wife is in California doing whatever she wants to do and she doesn't even need to tell Jeff about what kind of healthcare is being received, what school they're going to. I mean, they were essentially treating Jeff Younger to the point as if he was a convicted felon and had shown signs of physical or mental or psychological child abuse. That is the level of which he has been removed from his son's life. It grinds my gears so bad, because the purpose of bringing on Jeff to Timcast has the whole purpose of shedding light onto an absurd social pressure situation where in family court that's already rigged for women to win, he is exposing in great detail large amounts of corruption that takes place in family court regarding the instant wins and the leverage and the leaning and bias towards women in these situations, regardless of what the man has done. The point of him coming on was so that people could be aware that there is a female bias in the system, and that, again, is another stepping stone against the wall that is Believe All Women. You're telling me that Tim is the same guy who wants to take away from the Believe All Women narrative. He recently even brings on a guest to help shed light into how these things are just simply handed off to women regarding family court, regarding the demoralization of society, yet blocks Jeremy because Tim's own viewers are asking him, who they know he has sensitive and critical information that he could share and could use his resources and platform to shed light onto the Eliza Bleu story regarding all of the lies and fabrications that have come from her. He chooses not to. And then furthermore, block the one person who is taking pot shots at you, and not vehement and not vicious, just based on the content at hand. I mean, I'll tell it to you like this. Like, I'm ultimately left in a position where I'm kind of jaded at most of what Tim even says at this point. I'm having a hard time reconciling the fact that you want Jeff's story to be out there, and at the same time, you will do anything in your power to deflect, block, and just simply not speak about what your own viewer base is demanding you to report on about a very extremely similar social issue that is all tied together. I mean, we are speaking about overall all of these great wrongs that have come from this final wave of feminism, and to tell me that he just is he's being petty, and even like in, and I had this on a previous video. I mean, he tweeted like taunting to his viewers, saying like, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he sent Shane Cashman, and I've spent this money on these resources, and I guess maybe I'll just not do the story at all. Like, what a joke, brother. You're telling me you need money incentive to report on something? I imagine at this point it's probably getting hard for him to even open his laptop and not see someone asking him why he's not covering the Eliza Bleu story. If you have answers, anyone out there in the audience, I would extremely love for a very articulate reasoning of why Tim should not be actively reporting on this same social context issue. I just have questions. I mean, like I've said previously, I respect Tim a great amount. I really do. But I have questions, man. I think a lot of us have questions. And I'm someone who's followed Tim for the last at least 4 to 5 years. Someone who's probably, I would say, a daily viewer of his content at that. And, who knows? Maybe this video goes nowhere and he says nothing, period, about it. And the story dies. Who knows? Or maybe there's some kind of sinister reasoning, which is what people are leading up to believe because of the absolute omission of any kind of response other than anger and reaching out in ways to just block people. It's childish to me, especially because it's like he is someone who's extremely well aware of the social context of like where we are. And to me, it's almost like he had the opportunity to step on to that Andrew Tate, Sneeko, Aiden Ross kind of wake up from the matrix, kind of take that male stance of going hard in the other direction against all of this, again, believe all women crap. And he choked. He completely choked. He folded. And I guess only time will tell. More to come, I guess. Anyways, yo, peace.